guy wearing thick spectacles thrusts out a sweaty hand.
Monty James, Silverwing.
He glances down at your badge.
Ah, it's you. I found your file extremely interesting, and your CV, wonderful. Inspiring, really. When I had the opportunity to look over the files of my future colleagues, I couldn't resist. I don't want to sound boastful, but silver level clearance has its advantages.
Monty winks. Monty makes a ring with his thumb and forefinger.
You were number 63,784 on the waiting list, but you were lucky enough to get into the dome after only 16 months. Besides that, zero, nada, absolutely nothing. You're a dark horse for both the Foundation and myself. How exactly did you end up in this wing?
The Silver forces a smile as he inches toward the window.
Well, you can't be as bad as Charles Manson. He filed for the Clean Slate program 3 times, but was never approved. Sorry, Charlie.
An uncomfortable silence rises between you, and Monty abruptly changes the subject. He taps the narrow illuminator panel with one finger.
Look, there's a storm rising. The lightning is strange. Green. Should lightning be green?
The thin, pale young woman is sitting at the window, leaning against the illuminator. The glass is slightly fogged with her breath. She turns to you. Her shiny badge reads Tomoko Kimura, physiologist.
We've crossed the border. No way back now. Even traveling by the funicular wasn't so thrilling.
The white presses small hands to her blushing cheeks.
You were thinking, why have no children been born under the dome? I've got a working hypothesis, but I'm not ready to share it yet.
She says softly, as if answering a question you didn't ask. Kimura shoots you a surprised look.
You're familiar with the details of the briefing, right? To put it simply, the dome is a selectively permeable environment.
The white draws an invisible hemisphere in the air.
Inorganic objects may exit the dome without difficulty, but any living creature dies if transported back to the outside world. That's why we're all stuck here for an indefinite period of time.
Kimura is eyeing the dome's mesh, glittering in the sunlight.
Supposedly, it's something to do with the atmospheric composition, but it's a weak theory. The difference of the air within the dome is so insignificant as to fall within the margin of error, or
She shoots a quick glance at the Silver and lowers her voice.
I heard a rumor, or a conspiracy theory, that we can leave the dome at any time. We've simply been told we can't. It's astonishing. Just incredible.
Kimura whispers, looking through the illuminator. A man with a mustache and a blue jumpsuit is standing at the window. The blue taps on the glass with one finger and gestures you to come and take a look. Seems like he doesn't speak English. A wiry woman in black wing overalls gestures imperiously for you to approach.
You keep your hands where I can see them.
Elsa's expression runs from shock to amusement, then settles on a confused smirk. Looks like you've given her a good laugh, at least.
What? No way.
The orange is dressed in a new jumpsuit. The shiny badge on his... He's side-eyeing the screen skeptically. Despite his tired, grim expression, his gaze is open and friendly. The orange's face stretches into a broad smile, baring his dentures to the world.
Like everyone, duh. In a black car, under guard. There's other guys too, the ones who go through the front door.
He nods at the black-winged woman beside him. Her nose wrinkles in displeasure, but as you're about to step away, Bisley nudges you on the thigh, at the same time pressing something cold and metallic into your hand. You open your hand to discover a pair of lock picks. just in case, Bisley whispers with a wink. Stopping by the door's porthole, you watch as the ground slowly approaches. It looks brown-black through the tinted glass and smoky blue at the horizon. It almost seems like the clouds are pulling apart there. You carefully review your briefing as you look downwards. When you arrive, they'll deliver you to the base, and you'll be assigned to one of the dome's many construction sites. Though even working all day beneath the burning sun would be preferable to being a participant of the White Wings experiments. You were told about those experiments during the briefing, too. Just as you're about to move away from the window, you notice a whirlwind beginning to form above the ochre plain. The gathering storm drifts unhurriedly above the desert, a crown of green lightning flashing at its core. Clearly no ordinary weather phenomenon. It must be one of those anomalies. The outlines of the landing site, blurred by clouds of dust, appear behind the greenish glass of the porthole. The capsule shudders as the braking devices engage.
Come here. Come on now, or you'll miss everything.
A cheerful man in a white lab coat grabs you by the sleeve. A badge reading Ludovico Nuzzi, scientific analyst, export department, dangles loosely on his clean uniform, which still smells pungently of washing powder.
Look over there.
He points upward with a sharp, wide gesture and hands you his field binoculars. You raise the binoculars to your eyes. Under fourfold magnification, the whirling cloud above the rust-colored plains looks even stranger. Its core glows with flickering green light and flashes rhythmically, and that rhythm seems to form a complicated pattern. Nuzzi bends close to your ear.
Fascinating. Do you want me to bring some filters? If we intercept the red and blue spectrums, we'll see something amazing. It's like a signal, some kind of message. I don't know.
Ludovico laughs unnervingly and snatches the binoculars from your hands. With the binoculars raised to his eyes, he minutely adjusts the focus. The scientist looks blankly at you, then down at his lab coat.
Ah, this? This?
He lets out a blaring laugh. Ludovico points at the building behind him.
I work in Concord Station, categorizing relics. My job is to classify them by rarity. Then the blues package them, silvers issue the documentation, and oranges move them to the cargo capsule. Just like the one you arrived in.
Nuzzi points upward.
Then the capsule takes the relics way up there, all the way to the spire, then to Crystal Sands by the funicular.
He offers you his binoculars once again.
Do you want to have a look at the spire? It's amazing. But then, you can look at...
Nuzzi looks from you to the capsule, and he flings his arms up.
Oh, mi scusi! Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You'd better get going or you'll be late for check-in. Your colleagues are already inside, and the storm is growing stronger. Yeah, the storm is growing stronger.
The White mutters in fascination, eyes glued to his binoculars, which is...
Welcome back. Bye-bye.
Mr. Rayhead, would you bring me a cup of coffee, please? Colleague? Well, never mind.
Employee.
A tall receptionist watches you from behind his desk with a bored, haughty look. The receptionist doesn't bother to hide his disgust at your orange uniform. He nods at you wordlessly, as if unwilling to waste his breath speaking to you. His metallic name tag reads Dean Rayhead. The administrator slaps himself on the forehead.
Ah, I almost forgot the regulation pre-registration greeting. Just a second.
Rayhead produces a reel-to-reel tape recorder from beneath the desk, rewinds the tape to the beginning, and presses play. The speakers explode with a harsh, crackling sound, over which the tick-tick of a metronome slowly grows louder. Solemn music begins to play, and the administrator's face takes on a serious expression.
Dear employee, on behalf of the Cronus Foundation, I, Administrator Dean Rayhead, welcome you to your new life under the dome.
The administrator clears his throat and continues.
By joining our company, you choose the path of science and progress. You are among mankind's best, and we ask that you live up to this.
Dean squints down at the monitor.
Deserve this title. Do your job honestly. Obey the law. Respect your colleagues, and...
The music fades, and the administrator finishes his speech.
And together we will build the best possible future for all mankind.
Dean puts the tape recorder away.
Now that we're done with the official greeting, I'll register you and upgrade your Selectron. Okay?
The committee ads didn't lie. The interior of Dean stabs impatiently at the Dean's hands hover over the keyboard. He gives you a nod. You spell out your first and last names and specify your wing, profession, and test results. The administrator's fingers fly across the keyboard as he enters your information into the Cronus database. Rayhead scans the computer screen.
So your position in the waiting list was 63,784. You've been assigned to Magellan Station. A special bus will bring you there after a series of briefings. Please pass me your Selectron so I can update the firmware.
Dean snaps the docking port of your pass to a recess in the casing of his computer. The administrator puts your Selectron on the desktop and pushes it toward you.
This firmware gives you access to all of the Orange infrastructure. The Orange elevator, though it's out of order right now, the residential level, the utility rooms, and limited access to a few other areas for cleaning. One more thing. Please don't try to upgrade the Selectron yourself.
Dean continues.
All new employees have a short list of tasks to perform on arrival. Do you want to hear all the details or just the short version?
Rayhead snorts.
To make it short, get your uniform from storage, your weapons from the armory, pass the Psi abilities test, and complete your weapons training at the training zone. Then learn how to use the scanner, avoid anomalies, and properly catalog anything you observe. Last, go to the waiting room and wait for the bus to Magellan.
Dean sits back in his armchair.
That's it. I hope there aren't any questions.
Rayhead claps his hands in satisfaction.
Great.
He reaches for the tape recorder, but thinks better of it.
Protocol calls for a little welcoming preamble, but dash it all, that's nonsense. Welcome to Concord Station.
As he's about to turn away, Dean suddenly remembers something.
Oh yes, I sent your mail to your Kairos. Check your new messages. Well, that's all, I think.
Guide to the world of the future. When the dome was found, a small research camp was built nearby. Thanks to the efforts of our brave men, it had soon become a city.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
call the Spire. It's a pure engineering miracle.
Well, hello there. I hope to see you again soon.
Behind the storage counter, you see a small, neat guy. His gingery hair shines with something like brilliantine. His badge says, Sidney Maynard, storekeeper. The silver perks up at your approach. A thick logbook appears at once from under the counter. Sidney puts on thick glasses that seem to age him 5 decades in an instant and studies the lined pages. The silver taps his finger on the glass.
Slide your hands through the window, and I'll remove your handcuffs. That's better. Looks like you haven't received your uniform yet. And by the way, I don't just pass out equipment. I'm also available for trade. Interested?
Maynard adjusts his glasses in a businesslike manner.
And before I give you the uniform, please listen to these short instructions.
Sidney fiddles with his hairstyle.
So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Life under the dome can be dangerous. You may get shot, spill acid on yourself, get electrocuted, or suffer the effects of a dangerous anomaly. You may also freeze to death or get fried. That's why it's important to wear protective equipment when traveling outdoors. Of course, in hazardous situations, the equipment will get damaged, and the more it's damaged, the more often one has to repair it.
The silver steps back from his counter to indicate the repair kit boxes piled in the back of the warehouse. He points back at the shelves behind him.
We've got repair kits for this gear. There are Blue Wing specialists ready to help you at any large base, of course, but they're not always available. So, you'd better learn how to use repair kits and workbenches on your own. It's a useful skill.
Sidney rests the logbook on the desk.
That's all the instructions. Now, I'm going to issue your uniform.
The silver disappears into the back for a while and returns with a small package. Unfolding the package, Maynard shows you a brand spanking new uniform. Sidney fingers an orange jacket, pants, and heavy boots.
Jackpot! You got a brand new set. Don't be surprised. Some folks in Orange Wing have to make do with rags.
He raises a finger.
One more important thing. In accordance with Order 16-225, helmets and gloves are not issued, but they're available for purchase from me. Please bear in mind that a full set includes headgear or a mask, jacket, trousers, gloves, and boots.
Sidney hands you the package.
Here's your uniform. Enjoy.
Sidney adjusts his glasses.
Sure, I'll show you what we've got. You know, we're pretty well stocked here in Concord.
Sidney scribbles something in his logbook.
Please come back anytime if you need something.
Anything urgent, Mr. Kratchkov?
Katarzyna, did you mark it as Class 1 again, instead of 2? Look, here's the scanner data. It says the relic is a scientific device.
Wait, but it's still Class 1. I'm not going to violate protocol.
Katarzyna, my dear, you may violate protocol as long as it benefits the company. Take your lead from your colleagues.
The smell of good tobacco wafts off this tall, portly woman from a meter away. A black lacquered pipe, an open logbook full of signatures, and a metal flip calendar sit on the counter in front of her. A small nameplate reads, Margarita Tkachenko. The woman fixes her coppery hair with one hand and casually lights her pipe.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Her voice is deep and gravelly. Margarita thumbs back a couple of pages in her logbook.
I see. This was your first receipt.
She glances at her Kairos, looks at you, snorts, and retreats to the shelves. Takachenko returns a couple of minutes later, carrying a device looking like an industrial-sized pneumatic staple gun. She looks at the thing in her hands, and then at you, enjoying your reaction.
This here's called the Kraut. It's a pneumatic gun for staples and nails. It's not technically a weapon, but when has that ever bothered you oranges?
It's obvious this isn't Takachenko's first time demonstrating the Kraut. She retracts the attached blade and shows you how air is forced into the cylinder to create pressure for shooting. When she's finished, she sets the weapon on the counter in front of you. Margarita drags on her pipe and releases a puff of thick, yellow smoke.
I see you know the rules and won't cause problems.
Takachenko takes a leisurely draw on her pipe.
If you ask me, there are tons of pluses. You won't accidentally kill anyone, and the Kraut doesn't need cartridges. Very practical.
The Black is taken aback by your question. She spreads her hands, never letting go of her pipe. The Armorer shrugs, puffing indifferently on her pipe.
It's the least I could do. We have a requisition list from the Silvers. For free, you receive only rubbish. If you want the real deal, check out the weaponry shop. Or me.
Leaning over the counter, the Black points somewhere off to one side.
Now it's time for your training. Botherby is already waiting for you by the big gate. He's a bit dotty, but a good man nonetheless. But before the training zone, go see that wizard guy with his toothpicks. Be careful around him, though. Don't let him pitch you a line. Psychic my ass.
She winces in disgust.
Will make the world a better place. World a better place.
A lean Silver with thick black hair and a huge cigar clamped in his teeth is sitting in front of you. As you approach, he flashes a sly grin and slowly raises an outstretched hand above the table. Something really weird happens. All the paper clips, pencils, scattered toothpicks, and bits of trash float up from the table and hang in the air. The silver badge reading Andrei Mihai Science Instructor floats up as well.
Here for the briefing, huh? Shall we get to it?
He takes the cigar out of his mouth and exhales a lush cloud of smoke. The Silver props his elbows on the table.
Anyway, here's the deal. It's more profitable for people with a high psyche to study psionics. Give me your hand.
Not waiting for an answer, he grabs your hand with strong, dark fingers. Andrei gropes your hand with an expression of fierce concentration.
So, do you practice? Bells, bulbs, brushing mugs off the table, huh?
The Silver takes a thin glove covered in talc from his desk and passes it to you.
Look, a glove, right? But it isn't just a glove. This is an ooh mama hold me tight glove. It takes energy from your noggin, your psyche, and pew, concentrates it.
He counts off on his fingers.
Learn psionics. Put on the glove. Transform energy into the necessary shape. That's the whole briefing. Simple? Simple. Now to your questions, huh?
Mihai spreads his hands good-naturedly as if to say, "You're welcome." The toothpicks on the table skitter around for a moment, arranging themselves into a curse word. The Silver laughs loudly at his joke. The cigar falls from his mouth to float in the air, ash flaking weightlessly from the tip.
assigned to the Silvers about that idiot. They'll take the appropriate measures. I hate those oranges. What the hell do they bring?
As you reach to open the sliding door, an engineer in a bright blue jacket stops you.
Hold on there, Chief. It's out of order. See? Tell your orange crony I'm gonna stick this chewing gum where the sun don't shine. Just arrived and he's already damaging property. Mind you, he fucked you over as well. You'll have to wait until I get this sorted out. If you ask me, they're too gracious about those guys over in Crystal Sands.
The technician points angrily at the lock on the door. His badge reads, Maxim Penkovsky. Penkovsky chuckles.
Looks like you don't get it. Tons of relics pass through Concord. The base is laid out to make everyone walk a single route, with the top level as separate as possible from the bottom. You get the memo?
He turns back to the lock.
So in the meantime, take a load off. Have a coffee. Loosen up. Watch the storm through the window. You'll be seeing a lot of those out here.
Maxime extracts a thin, sharp, precision probe from behind his ear and dangles it in front of you.
As an orange, I'm sure you know what this is. But in case you don't, I can teach you to pick locks. It's a useful skill. You'll see.
He looks at you expectantly. The blue's getting excited.
All right, looky here.
Penkovsky presses his pick lock, and an odd device resembling a hybrid of a screwdriver and a can opener into your hand.
Using a mechanical pick lock is easy peasy. No special skill required. They wear out after a few locks. While the old-fashioned kind is another thing entirely. Cheap, one use. But one has to know how to use it right. That's a tool for a master.
Maxime takes out another pick lock and crouches by the door. He gives you a quick lesson on how to pick a lock.
By the way, you can carry your tools in your belt. It's much handier to have them right there.
Penkovsky shows you his utility belt, where he keeps all kinds.
Actually, finding tools under the dome is no problem at all. There are even devices for...
The blue solemnly raises his index finger.
And one more thing. Always use brand name stuff if you can. Groovy produces good kits. Modus and Supercolor do too. They've all got fat contracts with Cronus, so they care about quality.
He looks at the door again.
Damn these locks. Though I'd rather be doing this than fixing hab pods. Those are a real pain in the ass. I repeat, get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. And then, apply it to the door. Yes, apply is the proper word. You're doing great. All right, off you go. I'll keep working on this lock because of that orange. Hey-ho.
Welcome under the dome, an amazing excursion to a world of new technology and the riddles of an ancient...
You see a tall scientist in a white lab coat, bathed in the dim lamplight. He almost appears to be hovering above the laboratory floor. The man turns at your footsteps. He's holding a paper clipboard. He glances from you to the glittering watch on his wrist.
I want us to respect one another's time. Please speak loudly, clearly, and to the point. You must be the newcomer I was told about. Nice to meet you.
Finished with his unusual greeting, he offers you his thin hand. The amiability in Van Olden's eyes winks out like a light. He looks at you coldly, but calmly.
My instructions will take as long as I deem necessary. I lecture, you listen. Am I clear?
The scientist puts the clipboard aside, raises his watch for a closer look, and sets the timer. He shows you his watch dial.
According to the rules of this briefing, I have to touch on a large number of topics. Therefore, I will do so very briefly. Do not interrupt me. When I'm finished, I'll answer your questions. Within regulations, of course.
Sebastian produces his handheld and clicks some buttons.
I checked your scanner. It's working and is connected to the Minerva database. Everything you scan will earn you Kronos or Forefathers knowledge points.
The instructor watches you with displeasure.
Are you listening? Scan everything that might be of scientific interest. First of all, anomalies. They could be dangerous. Make sure to always have medication with you.
He places a canvas pouch in your hand.
This pouch is full of bolts. You can temporarily discharge an anomaly by throwing a bolt into it. It's primitive, but reliable.
Van Olden pushes a button on his stopwatch.
So, my oral briefing fell within the allotted span of time. Any questions you want to ask me?
Sebastian pulls a scanner from his pocket.
I will demonstrate this only once. To switch on the scanner, press the button on the right side of the manipulator housing. The scanning beam is narrow. It's intended to focus...
Van Olden turns on the scanner and continues.
My advice is to scan anything that might be of scientific or statistical interest. Relics, forefathers' objects, automatic doors, vehicles, vending machines, deceased employees.
He turns the screen so you can see it.
The scanner automatically transmits data to the Minerva system, and you receive knowledge points.
The scientist glances at his watch again.
You're within the time limit for questions. The next step is training in the artificial ecozone.
He rests one finger on the button in preparation to start the timer.
You're going to go downstairs and scan relics. I will be monitoring your progress. Please note there are several radioactive anomalies in the ecozone.
He smoothly extracts a jar of yellow pills from his pocket.
Here's your Arad 3. And one more thing. Just a moment.
Welcome Under the Dome, an amazing excursion to a world of new technology and the riddles of it.
Please stand by for decontamination to end. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
Van Olden gestures back at the ecozone.
You haven't completed scanning everything yet. Finish the task first.
Technology and the
Be careful around the anomalies. Touch one of them and you'll be injured. Don't touch the relics with your hands, employee. Use your scanner. Radiation sickness will not add to your knowledge. Journal entry. A successful scanning attempt. You're doing all right so far. Go ahead. I'll keep an eye on you and make sure you don't screw it up. Journal entry. 2 objects scanned. And again, watch out for anomalies. Touch one and you'll be injured. Possible that the anomalies discharge. Journal entry. All 3 objects have been successfully scanned. Come upstairs, employee.
Sebastian meets you on the platform.
Your finishing time is within the acceptable range.
He clicks the stopwatch button, fixing the result time. The scientist turns back to his notes.
Not bad. One question. You observed several anomalies while scanning. Why do you think they appeared? I'd like to hear your opinion.
The scientist assumes a superior expression.
I knew you'd come up with something like that. I see you understand nothing about the nature of anomalies. So let me add a couple of points.
He glances at the shimmering blue light in the ecozone.
The truth is, we don't know the precise reason for these phenomenon either. We actually know nothing, no matter how much we try to convince ourselves otherwise.
Sebastian points a thin finger at the clustered lightning.
I personally believe that the anomalies are the dome's security mechanism. The ones you saw are relatively harmless, but there are different anomalies in the desert, phenomenon that toy with the human mind.
Van Olden clasps his hands behind his back.
I know you don't care, but I'll say it anyway. Scientists today are required to be wonder workers who can heal cancer with a wave of their hand and solve the secrets of the universe during their coffee break. For some reason, no one wants to understand that fundamental science is always an investment in the future. It produces no answers here and now.
The White's gaze strays back to his clipboard.
If something terrible happens under the dome one day, and I'm sure it will, science will protect no one. That is all. Off you go.
Technology and the riddles of an ancient civilization. Listen to this information, useful for all wings.
Please stand by for decontamination to end.
A middle-aged black is sitting behind the counter with his hands in his lap. The buttons and zippers on his uniform are polished to a shine, and even his badge, Winston Botherby, instructor, has been buffed so much it hurts to look at it. Botherby frowns as you approach.
The first act is being late for the briefing. You going to be late for your funeral as well?
The black looks you over.
Yes, I see the weapon received checkmark. Looks like you are fully prepared to disappoint me. You are prepared, right, employee?
Botherby leans over the counter and directs you to the doors.
Behind this door is a combat simulation computer. Launch it and begin your course.
He raises his index finger.
The conditions in the training zone closely simulate those one would experience in the field. Your goal is to avoid getting lost and dying of dehydration. And try to aim the barrel away from yourself when shooting.
Pulling a notepad from his pocket, the instructor jots down your name.
Your goal is to hit 3 targets. I'm going to monitor you and advise as necessary. And try not to burst into tears. That's all. stoked. Cheer for random chance if I were you.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Botherby nods grandly.
You made it through training without making a total fool of yourself. Congratulations. I'll send a report up the chain about your completely unanticipated success. You're dismissed, employee.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully.
Hey, you're at it again, asshole.
Okay, you got me, Butch. Old habits.
Shall we continue? Why are you bugging me? See ya. Start over. He only did it once.
No, Butch is right. I ain't gonna argue with him.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place.
Curse you ain't, you slime ball.
A better place.
If I find out you cheated, your mama won't ever see you again.
None of our mothers will ever see any of us again.
Glad to meet you. Come back again. Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, you, dumbass. I'm talking to you. Quit staring and get over here. I'm talking business. Good day to you.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Have a good one.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World, a better place.
Hello again. Have a good one.
Oh, you again. I hope to see you again soon.
Come under the dome. An amazing excursion to a world of new technology. useful for all wings, and receive a colorful leaflet.
Ed, spit it out. I can see that something's bothering you. God. Come on already.
Employee, please come here. There's an urgent task for you.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Oh, good day. See ya.
How can I help?
The giant display glows welcomingly when you approach. A red light comes on under the screen's steel hood. The camera is switched on. A gray old man with high cheekbones appears and squints out at you from the screen.
Do you copy?
He leans close to the camera, his glasses glittering.
My name is Martin Kingsley. I'm Chief Officer of Magellan Base. We were supposed to meet in person, but unforeseen circumstances prevented that. One moment. I'll grab your file.
He reaches for something out of view and produces a thin folder with your name on the cover. Apparently, your file. Kingsley opens the folder to thumb through the pages. He marks one of the pages with a pencil.
The Orange Wing. Well, whatever else can be said about me, I'm a humanist. I would never reject a person simply because they made a mistake. If it was a mistake. Tell me, how did you end up in the ranks of the Oranges?
Martin spins his pencil between his fingers.
You know, seeing the Dome as a prison is very common among Oranges. Partly because of the discrimination we admittedly haven't yet eradicated. Partly because of the abundance of guards. But more importantly, in my opinion, is because this is a two-way problem. You expect this place to be a prison, not a home.
Kingsley closes the file and folds his hands in front of him.
Thank you for your reply. I learned a little more about you. Now I want you to learn a little bit more about us. Keep in mind, this is not a rehearsed speech.
He assumes a serious expression.
When the Dome was discovered in 1971, it became a scientific and media sensation, a worldwide phenomenon, and likely the most significant discovery in the history of mankind.
Kingsley drums his fingers on the unseen desk, his gaze focused somewhere beyond.
I see. You were enticed here by radio advertising, telefilms, and all those interviews, billboards at every turn. Cronus wants the world to see the Dome as a stage where something merry and fascinating is going on. But now that you're actually here, I want you to see the real picture.
You can't make out his eyes behind the glare on his spectacles, but he seems to be staring directly at you.
Here's the truth. Nobody was waiting for us inside the Dome. It's neither a treasury of technologies nor a cemetery of the ancients. Perhaps what we're doing now is defusing the world's most complicated bomb. Will our mission thrive? I believe so. If we work together and everybody does their part.
He looks back at your file.
I say, do what must be done. Because that's what the concept of the 5 wings is all about.
Kingsley points at the camera.
You're from Orange Wing. Your duties involve taking risks, and you'll more often face difficult grunt work. I don't think this mission requires an Orange participant, but my superiors are forcing my hand. Someone on the committee suggested it would be a good idea to use your performance over the next few days as a positive example. If it were up to me, I wouldn't send you. But alas, consider your mission to be of propagandistic nature.
Putting the folder aside, he sits back and stares at you in silence. It gets so quiet that the ticking of a clock can be heard through the speakers. Kingsley sighs quietly.
You were probably waiting for some boilerplate welcome speech, but I prefer to talk about real-world problems. Glad to meet you.
Martin nods slowly.
I apologize once again for this long-distance meeting. Now, as we don't have much time, I'd like to get to the point. I'm sure you're curious why you were taking off the bus to Magellan and brought here instead.
He moves closer to the camera.
I'm going to show you a short video. Please pay attention.
Kingsley's face freezes on screen.
I have an urgent mission for an employee of your background and qualifications. I'd have assigned someone from Magellan, but I'm short on personnel. That's why it has to be a newcomer. I apologize again for the rush, but it seems I have no choice.
Martin noisily clears his throat.
Maybe you've heard about Nashville Base. While preparing the materials for this mission, I came across a short documentary film about the complex. I think you should watch it.
The speakers produce a hollow click. Purple, gray, and black spots flicker on the screen. A blurred title, The Cronus Archive 1971 to 1974, was used in the production of this recording, appears at the bottom. You're not really interested in the movie. Instead, you eye the austere interior of the guard room, the switches on the panel, and the dusty window facing out on a well-lit storage area. Not far from the staircase, an orange tractor truck is standing amidst the shelves and containers. It must be the one from Magellan Station. Catching the word Nashville, you turn back to the screen. The speaker's voice seems to come from a distance. In November of 1973, a massive network of underground caves and a structure of hitherto unseen complexity was discovered in Sector C-12. Soon afterwards, the construction of C-12 Nashville began. The camera glides through dim caverns as the silhouettes of bizarre mechanisms emerge. Metal structures loom up from the dark, surrounded by earth-moving machines and exhausted miners wearing orange jumpsuits. The speaker continues. C-12 Nashville is an innovative research complex located atop the primary relic mining location. The complexity of this object is unique. Communications. The film abruptly cuts out, and Kingsley's face reappears.
The rest of this information is classified. Hopefully you get the main idea. Nashville is a very special place, requiring people with both special qualifications and special clearance level, though yours will do for your task.
The chief officer bends threateningly close to the camera.
I thought I made myself clear. That information is classified.
Kingsley lowers his eyes and flips through some documents.
Only the driver. The rest of the group has already departed. I'll tell you everything you need to know, don't worry.
Martin adjusts his glasses.
So, the task. Nashville Base stopped transmitting and receiving signals yesterday evening. A reconnaissance group was sent out earlier today, but we haven't heard anything from them yet either.
The chief officer rubs his forehead.
Normally, I would never give this task to a newcomer like yourself, but I just don't have enough people.
He looks down at the documents again.
As I've already told you, someone up the chain decided to entrust this task to an Orange. Should you succeed, you'll become a hero in the official propaganda. And should you fail, You'll become a martyr, I suppose.
Martin falters, choosing his words carefully.
You have to understand, the terms of the Orange contract involve a certain level of risk. Fatal risk.
Kingsley is looking into the camera once more.
Your task is to get to Nashville, figure out whatever's behind the communication problem, get in touch with the group, and work with them to solve the problem.
The chief officer carefully returns the documents to the folder. You notice his hands tremble slightly.
Go downstairs. The truck must be waiting for you in storage. This task is urgent, but a small delay is acceptable if there's anything you need to settle here first. That is all. Any questions?
Kingsley's hand reaches toward the camera.
Great to hear. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you later.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
Let's save the drama. Where's the cargo manifest? I know what it is. I know it can't.
Manifests he wants. Always manifests. You're a cold man, Ulf. You're a heartless. Hey, did you see that storm? Hell, you want me to go back out there?
Those are the rules, Todd. Nothing I can do about it. Sorry.
Damn. Well, I guess I'm going back to Campbell then. Hey, can you spare a cig? I'll have a puff to pass the time until the storm ends, and then go. It's my last one. You're heartless, Ulf. Did I tell you that before? Well, I'm telling you again. Well, hello there. I'm listening.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
I hope to see you again soon.
Hi there.
The highway leading to C-12 Nashville is blocked by an anomalous storm, and you're forced to detour over a mountain pass. Soon, the radiator boils over, and you have to stop. Clara lifts up the hood and thoroughly examines the steaming radiator.
The engine's boiling, so we'll have to wait. You do know what happens when a car boils, right? It's...
The Blue shuts her mouth abruptly and stares anxiously at the dark funnel cloud dancing on the horizon. Now that you're on higher ground, it's clear that the storm has overtaken a fairly large section of road. It will be difficult to pass. The Blue looks at the engine again.
We wait. As soon as it cools down, we'll go. This storm worries me more, but it's not an insurmountable problem. I heard there are some relics at the local gas station to protect against anomalies. You could even accidentally step on one out here, they say. Mysterious are the ways of the Lord.